Out the match, half-time and full-time results in a nice, colourful piece of enterprise by Hibernian. And there are the hosts, Hibernian, plagued by injuries. And of course, Gordon Ray isn't here today because he was sent off last week playing against Celtic. And John Blackley is playing under the most extraordinary circumstances today, because if you saw a programme, you probably recall him being sent off as well. He was in the dugout as assistant manager, but in fact, technically, he was not a registered Hibs official, which means that he can play today. And he's playing, would you believe, as a trialist. They're allowed to play 3 games before they actually have to sign the registration forms. So there is a man who played in the 1974 World Cup squad playing for Hibs today as a trialist. And at the other end of the park, a man who played with him and was in that 1974 World Cup squad, Sandy Jardine, captain of the day, and of course became a famous player with Glasgow Rangers. And Hibs know that Sandy and his mates have one of the best defensive records in the Premier Division. And I think Sandy is the backbone of a side that really, in all honesty, has surprised everybody. A team that might have struggled to stay is looking extremely good to keep up amongst the leaders. The referee today is David Syme, who's just returned from Poland, where he refereed the international against Portugal. Well, this man is not doing mountaineering today. He's with us at Easter Road. And the shot you see from his camera gives you an idea of the atmosphere that always builds up for this particular occasion. Great feeling of anticipation with Hibs until last week on a very good run indeed, and Hearts themselves, as I said, playing extremely well with a backbone of experience. So, Hibs kicking down the slope. Oh, there's Hearts right onto it very quickly, and the man you saw there, number 11, John Robertson, professional youth internationalist. Willie Irvin, he didn't like that tackle, and indeed the boot was up very high. The kind of reckless touch that this game can do without. It's a beautiful ball to Shadler. Very intelligent move there. Touched very strongly there by Donald Park. And John Blackley's first touch of the game has a hint of aggression about it. And the referee has stopped the play. Now, it's number 7, Bowman. Well, I'm not sure if you approve of the actual style, but you must admit, on a cold day like this, they really are courageous. Well, I think David Syme is trying to get him off, or get Hearts to come to some decision. Well, that's a good sign, which the Hearts supporters appreciate. He's carrying on. Donald Park. Donald, the only part-time player on the field, and has been some very rough tackling. That was a very hard tackle indeed by Stuart Turnbull. Straight on McDonald, and he's going to be booked. Well, Ali McDonald's a tough nut. Takes a lot to stop him. Oof. Shake of the head. Thompson. Good break by Turnbull. Thompson is wide on the left, and Shadler. Thompson. Offside. Linesman on this side, given offside. Well, he had his flag up, but the referee just waved play on. So it's a throw. Ooh, Duncan. Well, I think you could judge that that was really a scoring position. He had a little bit of freedom, a little bit of elbow room, and yet it all went off the side of his foot. But that's Stuart McLaren, player of very great experience, Motherwell, Dundee, and also very hard player indeed. Free kick. Ralph Callaghan down, the ex-Hearts player. And off goes young David Bowman, and that really is a blow to Hearts. He's a very talented footballer indeed. And the rib injury he got, they gave it time, I think, to perhaps settle down, but it hasn't done that. McDonald. They've been fighting for it. Little bit too much of the fight in this game. "15 minutes gone, and a word in the ear of Stuart McLaren. Callaghan with it. Easy one for John. McDonald. Hearts breaking quickly. Donald Park. Despairing tackle, and just as well there was a touch, because I think Park was free in a way. Policeman doesn't seem at all interested, does he? Mark Hugh. Maybe some work for him to do in the terracings, and that's a free kick. Sending it down the slope. Thompson. Snedden. Bit of skid there. That's a good-looking ball as Arthur Duncan goes in. That's a corner. Little swift thrust by Hibs, and they got 2 men in very quickly. So there was an alternative, and I think that provided a little confusion for Hearts. Ronnie McDonald. Mackay. Good running by Mackay. Can he take him on? He can. This is a great run, and there's great goalkeeping to match it. The youngster drifting forward intelligently, feeling of apprehension about the way Hibs backtracked, not knowing quite what he would do, but look at that solid, experienced goalkeeping, narrowing the angle, totally smothering any chance of a breakthrough. Hovering ball again. Snedden. Well worth a try. Fullbacks are notorious through the ages for lofting their shots at goal, but that really was a difficult angle, almost facing his own goal and turning and hitting all in the one. There goes the half-time whistle. No scoring, and a most undistinguished first half, and indeed I would give the first 20 minutes an X certificate with some really vicious tackling. And of course we've got one of the talented players, David Bowman, off the field with a rib injury from a very awkward clash, which seemed to set the tone for the succeeding minutes. And it's ranged from vicious to brutal, and quite apart from that, it has stopped the flow of the game, and that seems a dreadful pity. And I suppose we, as almost like a censor, draw a blank over that first half and await the second half with a sense of hope that at half-time the team talks will produce something more creative. you would hope that every player now would think positive. The game was so negative in the first 45 minutes. Barely a chance in the match. Best one falling to young John Robertson, and I think in a sense it's a game that always engenders a lot of tension, and that, I think, has got the better of the football players on the park. Willie Irvin. Jordan goes with him, and that's a corner kick. Willie Irvin was coming in hard. This is Callaghan. Turnbull. Jordan. Robertson all on his own, and I thought he pushed Blackley. He did. Free kick. Nice one inside there by Irvin. Good play by Hibs, looking impressive, kicking up the slope. Callaghan. That's a bit of coal, not a bad effort. And more you see players trying to finish like that. It's a combination of it, applying as many techniques as they can now, and the new footballs that are played with when you can do that sort of thing. There is offside almost in the centre circle, not so far away from it. It's that kind of afternoon. Irvin. About as impressive as anybody in the field today, Irvin. Now, Ralph Callaghan. That's Irvin with a touch, and there's a goal. Bobby Thompson. 1-0, 21 minutes. And the second half gone right out of the blue. Now, it didn't look too dangerous when it went in, but you really have got to give credit to Thompson for coming in sharply and getting the touch. And Henry Smith had no chance. 1-0. Boom. Robertson. Well, there's certainly a bit of life now about Easter Road. An occasion for singing and dancing where there is room. And thoroughly justified, I may say. Hibs have been by far the better side in the second half. Hearts have disappeared. Might be the sort of thing that tests the character of this newly constructed hard side, all the same, to try and fight back from this position. It's the Hibs supporters, of course, you can hear in the background. McDonald, and up and under. And I think Jimmerson entitled to sweep that away. Corner kick. Here's Donald Park. Halfway through this second half, another corner kick. Park again, not such a good one. Very anemic effort by Donald Park. Bone. McDonald. Hibs defending well. John Blackley at the core of it all. Willie Advin, and then it almost got through. Turnbull. Now Shadler. Hart retreating very quickly. Turnbull with it. Oh, he should have planted it home. No wonder there's the anguish. I know he was about 18 yards from goal when it came, but nevertheless it was set up for him. Didn't seem to make any clean contact with it. Here's Irvin. Just gets away with it. Eyes on the ball. Look at Kidd staring at the ball. And I think the referee gives a free kick. The Hart support in the background, stunned by that sudden goal. Henry Smith is after it. Here's John. Park. That's Robertson. Park again, better ball inside. Mackay to Robertson. Well, there's a curl in that. It's in. There's deflection, I think, one each. John Robertson, the man who seemed most likely to succeed, and he has. 31 minutes of the second half gone, to the delight of the Hart support, and we, I think, had an almost perfect picture of that. I think he did the right thing, and there was a deflection. We'll give him the credit for the goal, but that eluded Alan Ruffin. There was spin and cover in it, and in it went. And Hearts, who've been hemmed back and certainly didn't look like scoring, have pulled the game back. Brazil. A little bit unfortunate, Hibs, and there is John Blackley. Way by Jordan. Thompson. Duncan. Little bit too wide. Snedden. Corner kick. Duncan there, and away by Kidd this time. Willie Evans after it, hooked away. And a bit of a confusion there, and indeed, I think the centre half and the goalkeeper rather fell out over it. Bone to McDonald. Done very well on it. Oh, he controlled that brilliantly. Jimmy Bone. Little touch of the old Alan McDonald's about that. Jordan. Hasn't put a foot wrong. About 3 minutes left. Robertson again, how dangerous he is. Good ball inside, and Ruffy almost deceived by the bounce. A mishit shot which could have proved a disaster but for that alert goalkeeping.
By over 21,000 people, and although it did have the character of a very intense cup tie, I thought the quality came nowhere near justifying the huge attendance. Now, some of the tackling made me cringe up on the platform, so consequently, if there was a degree of haste in some players to rid themselves of the ball, then under these circumstances, I could hardly blame them. Now, the overall impression was of a bitterly fought but unpleasantly flawed game, which over the piece I thought Hibs ought to have won. They come out in the second half with a renewed sense of purpose that somehow seemed to desert Hearts, who must be counting their blessings and having a player like young John Robertson to snatch credit for the team out of practically nothing. Now, by the way, a sprinkling of Hibs supporters and hundreds of Hearts supporters spilled onto the field after the game, looking as if they wanted to start the Third World War. Now, many of them not quite made it into hand-to-hand combat, more ugly looks and sounds more than anything else, but it did look very menacing at one stage. I wouldn't directly link wild play on the field with crowd unrest, but they're hardly remote from one another. Lessons have got to be set on the field of play with a sense of responsibility. Now, one man who can hand out a few lessons to young players is Jimmy Bone, whom I've long admired. For Jimmy, it's been a case of have boots will travel, for he's been around in his day, and I wanted to know, firstly, what he thought overall of the game this afternoon.
It was a very hard, demanding physical game, actually, and I thought we played very well in the first half. But I think after the break, Hibs were probably the better side. But at Hearts, we've got great team spirit just now, and we've done well to come back from behind again. You know, we're very difficult to beat.
Well, you used the words hard demanding. I would use other words for it. I thought it was pretty brutal in the first 20 minutes. Some of the tackling was savage.
I would agree that it was very physical. But mind you, the referee booked someone early on, and it didn't really get out of hand. Maybe it looked a wee bit worse from the side, but on the pitch it was hard, but it wasn't dirty.
Well, it looked bad from up here. Don't you sometimes get a different impression of the game when you're at it like that? You're involved in it. It's part of the flow of the action, and you maybe not quite appreciate how hard it is.
Yeah, sometimes that's right, you know, but you're on there and the lad coming, and well, there's a couple of us who've been around for a while. You know the guy's coming, and you can maybe sort of ride the tackles a wee bit, you know, but it still looks pretty bad from the sidelines.
Do you enjoy playing with the youngsters, particularly a special youngster like John Robertson?
Oh, great stuff, yeah. That keeps you young, actually, you know, when you're playing beside lads with that talent, and maybe a lad tries to learn, and he's got a good future.
Did you feel depressed when Hibs got the first goal? Because at that stage, they thoroughly deserved it, and yet it was a snap goal, you know, it came out of nothing.
Yeah, Bobby Thompson took it very well, and at that particular time, I think they were probably the better side, and I had a feeling through the game that the first goal would be the winner, but a good team spirit at Hearts carried us through, and we did well to fight back again.
Well, no disparagement to you, but I did think if anybody was going to get it, it was going to be John Robertson. I mean, he had a particularly good afternoon, but there was a slight assist, wasn't there?
Yes, he got a wee deflection. He bent it and he got a wee deflection, and then they did the balls in the net, and that's 1 point each.
Jimmy, are you still enjoying the game the way you used to?
Yes, I do, actually. I still have the enthusiasm, and it's great when you're playing with all these young lads, and it's great turning up on a Saturday and knowing that you're going on the field.
You're not like to be back to the warmer climates. I saw you playing in Canada for the blizzards across there, and you enjoyed it.
Yes, I enjoyed it because it helped my knowledge in the game, like, you know, playing with different nationalities and different conditions. But there's nothing like playing in Scotland in front of your own people.